So we're going to do test review for chapter 2, part 2. I'm doing questions 14, 15, and 16. So it says, here's an equation that defines y as a function of x. It says solve for y and replace y with function notation. So that means we have to write it fx equals something. So first, step 1, we have to solve for y. So let's write it out. So we want to get y by itself. So this is your close friend, this is your neighbor. Who are you going to get rid of first? Your neighbor, because you like your close friend. So 7y equals 7 minus x. Now to get y by itself, we have to get rid of the 7. So I'm going to divide everything by 7, because that's 1. 7 over 7 is 1, so I have y equals 7 divided by 7. That's just 1. Okay, now it says write it in function notation. So I have to replace the y with f of x. But there's this thing, you could write it like this in my math lab, but whenever we have, remember the favorite formula, y equals mx plus b? The x goes first, so I'm just going to take this and write it first, okay? And we like to write it like a fraction. You don't have to, but you can write it like this and put this after, or, which is nicer, put the 1 in, minus 1 over 7, put the x beside it, because then it looks like our favorite formula. This is the nicest way to write it, and this is okay, alright? But this is nicer. So what we did is we took this equation, we solved for y, and then wrote it as function notation, and then we wrote it nicer. Okay? Next one, 15. Oh, which one was that? We didn't say which it was. This one, D. So now it says, here we have an equation. Solve in terms of y and replace it with function notation. Oh, it's exactly the same. So let's solve for y. So we want y by itself. So this is your best friend because they're close, and this is your neighbor. So let's get rid of your neighbor because it's far away. So I have negative 7y equals, remember? So we put the x term first, so let's write the x term first this time, minus 8x, and put the 4 after. Just like I choked. Now I want to get y by itself, so let's get rid of this. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 7. Oh, this looks awful. So y equals, what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. So really I have 8 over 7x. I put the x beside it, it looks nicer. And then this, a positive divided by negative is just minus. Okay. Now I've solved for y. Now I have to write it in function notation. Which one is that? This one, B. Okay, let's look at the next one. Determine the intervals over which the function is decreasing, increasing, and constant. Okay, so we need to have that little person, and the little person only walks this way. Okay, so let's start. The person is walking here. They're walking up. So that's increasing. So it's increasing from, this keeps going, so that's negative infinity. It's going from negative infinity, and it increases until we get to the top of this hill. And the top of the hill, we only look at the x values. The top of the hill is when x equals 0. So negative infinity. So from here up to when x is 0, it's increasing. Okay? And then she starts going, she's going down. So then it's decreasing from the top of the hill, which is when x equals 0, and it goes down, down, down until it gets to negative infinity. There. So which one does this look like? Negative. Increasing. Decreasing. And it says it's never constant. Right. If we want a constant part, it has to be flat. There's no constant part. What's the difference between D and A? Can we see it? Oh, here it says decreasing this. No, 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 no. We want increasing. So this is increasing. This is decreasing, correct? And it's never constant. So it's A. Good.